So Come From Away is landing at Meadow Brook Theatre, and today we're talking with two of the stars of it, Jennifer Byrne and Tyrick Wiltez. Jones, how are you two doing today?
Good.
Great.
We're
Tired.
awake. Yeah, my brain is fried.
We are doing this right at the time that we're changing times. Like, this was a bad idea, but the best reasons.
Do better, Brian. Do better.
I mean, any time change is not going to be right. Let's be honest. You take something away. I don't like it.
But truly, I'm so excited to talk about the show. I was just telling Jennifer before the podcast, Tyrick, that this is one of those shows I just saw when it toured, and it absolutely emotionally wrecked me. And I just can't imagine how it is for the two of you to be in it. But I'm just so excited to talk about this show. Jennifer, how's it been so far?
Oh my gosh. It's a lot. It's great. It's good. It's a challenge because you're dealing with choreography, you're dealing with dialects, you're dealing with incredibly complicated music, and you're dealing with an incredibly sensitive subject. So it is really easy to like dip a toe a little too far into the water and then sit there and be like, if I'm facing upstage, I can close my eyes to stop from crying, which is what I do. But it's challenging in the best way. It is so satisfying, and it's so rare nowadays to get a show that is so challenging and yet so fulfilling.
I mean, Tyrick, that has to be. I mean, first off, I know you know all about choreography. You directed Footloose, and that you were telling me back then that show was insane. And this one is a one-act musical that is from start to finish. You are going. How are you dealing with all of this?
As Jen said, it is a lot. Playing Bob and others, also acting as the choreographer, consultant on this piece. We do have permission to do the original. So it's some of my work, but also some of the lovely Kelly Devine's work. So it's inspired by her work. I'll say that definitely. That's everything. Awesome. But it's a lot because I'm doing double duty. The great thing about this production for me is everyone in the cast is lovely. And the story is beautiful. And just like Jen said, it's not often when you, as an actor, get a chance to sink your teeth into something that fulfills you creatively, but also tells a story that, I was living in New York at the time. And there are times, even in rehearsal, all the time, Jen knows that, I'm like, oh, don't cry. Don't break down, because it still is so special. It's so special. Yeah. And, those of us that lived through it, it hit us a certain way then, and it still does now when we remember it.
Yes. Even though it's, how long ago is it now? Is it 20 years?
It was 2001, so 25 years.
Yeah. Oh! I mean, it still feels like yesterday. Isn't that
You're
crazy?
Old, Jen.
How dare you? My dermatologist says I'm not. Hi.
Not to add any insult to injury here, but I was in 4th grade when this happened.
Oh, where's my Botox? Oh, God.
You get the hand. Yeah, I was in 4th grade, too.
Me too. Weren't we all?
Yes.
Wow, we're all 34 at the same time. This is crazy.
Absolutely. Yes.
Oh, weird.
But truthfully, Jennifer, there has to be an extra level when you think about it, having lived through it. You mentioned you're from New York, and that has to add another level to this altogether.
Well, what is really interesting to me also, which, like I said, I face up stage and have to close my eyes. I moved to New York City on September 9th from Toronto. So, and I was actually supposed to be in Tower 1. It was literally I moved into my vocal teacher's apartment. He was going away to do a soft opening of a show, and I was taking care of his dog. I knew no one in New York City. And I got a temp job. I interviewed on that Monday, and I got my first cell phone and had no idea how it worked. And I was supposed to be in Tower 1 working, I want to say, for Arthur Anderson. And at 5 a.m. on the Tuesday morning, as I was getting ready and I'm walking the dog and I'm doing all my things, I get a phone call telling me, hey, we actually need to redirect you. We're going to put you in Trump Tower, which is across the street from the plaza. for Estee Lauder, just doing some temp work, trying to get that money. And I was like, okay, but I never called my parents to tell them that I had been changed because it was 5 o'clock in the morning. So,
Wow.
uh, yeah, I had no idea where I was going. I just knew my route on how to get on what subway to get to Tower One. So then I was frantically trying to figure out learning the subway. And then, uh, yeah, that whole, I mean, it literally, it's like it's
Wow.
yesterday. I can remember viscerally everything from that day. And so this is, there's so much connective tissue for me in many
Sure.
levels on for this show. So it holds such a special place in my heart. Yeah.
That is incredible. I mean, so glad that you are here, but like, what? That's a little too close to home.
My
Right.
guardian angels are tired. They're tired at this point. They're tired. Yeah. But yeah, it is. It's kind of crazy, and I can think of it with some levity now, because also, I'm a highly pragmatic person, so I just went into pragmatic mode on the day of, and, I remember helping people. I didn't know where I was going, and I was helping a couple of younger other temps that I was working with trying to find our way home because we had to obviously walk home, and, stopping in pizza shops and having people that had TVs and crowding into these shops because none of our cell phones worked because the towers went down and the cell phone towers were on,
Right.
so just trying to figure out where I was going and stopping people and asking for directions. So that community, which is very much a huge part of this show, was very much in New York City. We were helping people. I saw the businessmen walking up the street covered in soot, just like zombies. I saw all of
Sure.
that. So it's on so many levels, me turning up stage and trying not to cry.
Which is totally
Absolutely.
completely understandable. I mean,
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
I don't know how either one of you could be in, like, I understand why you're in a show like this, but I would be so emotionally drawn every single day. Tyrick, I can't imagine what that's like stepping into a show that is so real and something that, maybe we don't know we know the story of what happened in Newfoundland and Gander, but like to have it connected to something that is so tied to the identity of so many people of our generations. What is that like for you?
Yeah, it's crazy. As Jen said, like I'm approaching it as an actor, right, and as a choreographer, which is, like I say, creatively fulfilling. But then you think about as Tyrick, as a person who had been living in New York, and at that time, I was actually on the road. I was on tour. I was in Hamburg, Germany. My apartment,
Okay.
of course, was in Midtown, and what I remember, and my story is a little bit different because I was shopping at the time, and I tell this story. Oh my gosh, it's kind of a weird story, but I was at Armani, uh, preparing for an event, and I was downstairs in the basement where they like bring you champagne and they bring out like the newest, the latest,
Woo!
this, that, and the other. And I
Yeah.
remember one of the ladies from upstairs she comes running down, Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, Mr. Jones, uh, Twin Towers, World Trade Center. And in my head, because I thought, oh, they're always trying to attack us. Like it's probably not anything. So, and this is before like everyone was always on their phone and all of those things, the internet. So I went through the whole day with my errands, shopping, preparing for this event, getting ready for a show that night, not knowing what really happened until I arrived at my apartment. And you remember we had answering machines, and my answering machine
Yes.
was full, and I started checking messages, and I remember one of the calls was from my roommate at the time in New York, and that's when I
Oh my
turned on the
gosh.
TV, and I was like, oh my gosh. And that's when you start thinking
Sure.
about your friends, you start thinking about your family. My roommate at the time was working downtown, and she saw it happen. And she tells the story of they thought a movie was filming until that second
Oh
plane
my
Oh my
god.
hit.
gosh.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, because it was so unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and then of course I started receiving all of the phone calls from friends and family who thought I was in New York at the time. So they were freaking out because they hadn't heard from me all day because I hadn't realized what had happened. So, yeah,
That's
it's
wild.
crazy. Yeah.
You know, having been in fourth grade, I was very like we knew what was happening, but you're kind of removed from it. And it wasn't until every year, RJ and I, my business partner, we go to New York. And last time we went there, we went to the 9/11 memorial or the museum, and that was when it really I was just like, oh, this is like such the collective trauma for like for America, obviously, for the world, but like for the people of New York in that moment and all the things that you see there, and you see the destruction in like real time at this museum, and it's just it's hard to imagine just how it's impacting people. Like you said, Eric, you were in Hamburg, but you were still feeling that effects because you have people there, and there was your life was still there.
Yes, and I remember I was doing an American show, of course, in Hamburg, and we had to have a big meeting because they didn't know if we were a target or not. Because it was an American, like no one knew everyone was
Yep.
just grasping at everything, so we had to have a big meeting, about if we were going to do the show that night. I mean, it was crazy. It was insane. And then of course, you have so many stories like Jen's where so many people who just missed it because
Mhm.
something in the universe said not today,
Yes.
you know.
Yeah, their train was late or they forgot something and they turned around and went back home, and so they were 15 minutes late and they missed it. An interesting thing, Tyrick, what do you feel about too, about the fact that, when you hear about war veterans, like Vietnam War veterans or Afghanistan and they talk about, well, you don't know what it's like, we were there, and that perspective, and I've always had a removed perspective because obviously I wasn't there. And then hearing them talk about it, I'm like, oh, okay, but I can't feel the visceral reactions of what they're seeing in their heads. And now having had that perspective, I'm like, oh, I get it. I get it. We lived through that. You lived
Absolutely.
through that. Isn't that crazy just to have that perspective? But then also, Brian, from your perspective, you're saying, you were in fourth grade.
Fourth grade, yeah.
So, like, having that, like, oh, I was here when that happened. Like all of us, unfortunately, are going to say that we lived through a pandemic and and eventually 50 years down the line people are going to be like, oh yeah, the pandemic, dad, of course, or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, I roll. Has that shift of perspective now, especially 25 years later, of being like, oh my gosh, I am in that place of having that, lived through it, and then having that the minute uh somebody talks about it, I'm there again. It's kind of tired. Do you feel that too? Like, I don't.
Absolutely. It's
Yeah.
interesting because I don't know if you had this experience, Jen, but not that I thought I was over it, but I thought I was over it in the sense of I didn't expect in rehearsals to be emotionally affected the way I am 25 years
Yeah.
later. And
Yeah.
I just didn't expect, and I saw the show on Broadway. I saw my friends do it and I loved the show and and it moved me. But sometimes in rehearsals, I have to literally take a break so that I could speak.
Yes. You
You
have
know
to
what I
fall
mean? And I'm
back on
like,
that actor
"Whoa,
technique.
whoa, whoa."
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. That's when it's like the actor brain turns on and I go, okay, Jen, vocal breath, you have to have support. And I have to flip into that compartment and kind of like push all of that into a box somewhere in the back of my head.
Yes.
Yeah. In order to keep singing.
When you sing "Me in the Sky" and when Virginia does "I Am Here," like those songs,
Oh,
I'm I
oh,
talking about it now, I get chills.
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Serious.
Yeah. And over. Yes. Uh, for me in the sky, I'm thinking about lyrics. So thankfully, until the very, very end, I do have to stop and take a breath. And thankfully, it's written into the music to be able to do that. But Virginia singing, I'm facing upstage. So I get to, and I'm facing one of our cast members, and I'm just sitting there, and I just close my eyes, and I can see that she's watching me, and I'm like, I'm okay. I just taking the time, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's very interesting when you talk about those things because uh I as a psychologist, I've worked with people who've gone through some war and stuff like that, and they've gone through, you know, they have PTSD, and it's always the moments where you almost least expect it that it reminds you of what you went through, and it's like that re-traumatization of like, oh, this we're like Tyrick said, we're not. I thought I was over it, but I'm not at this point now. At this point, it's like reopening that wound just a little bit.
Yeah. And also the music is so damn good. It is so good. There are so many songs that bring you right to the edge with the melody, with your harmony, with your lyrics. Like it's so well
Yeah.
written that it does justice to this story, I think.
It does. And I don't want people to think like, oh, we're coming to the theater and we're going to be sad. It is such an uplifting show with humor, with fun, with movement, because we're talking about like when the worst act of humankind happened in our country, and we get to experience the best act of humankind in Newfoundland.
Yes.
Right? You know what I mean?
Yes.
So where things are horrible in one place and then you meet these people. And, you know, this is based off a true story. You meet these people who open up their town and their homes to 7,000 come from awayers from all over the world. And they are just like, here, let us take care of you and make sure you are okay. That is, I get emotional talking about it, especially like
I know.
with what we have going on in the world right now. But like, there is good out there, and if we could focus and bring that out more, oh my gosh, just imagine where we could be and what we could do together. And I hate to
It really
sound
does
like
give you hope.
Pollyanna, you know what I mean?
No,
But
no, it's
it
so
is
true.
so true because it is
So
a true story. This happened. You know what I mean? I did not mean to get emotional there. Okay, get it together.
No, but it's so easy.
morning.
It's so easy with the show to do it. It's so easy. Yeah.
But truthfully, I remember when I saw it at the Fisher Theater, that was one thing I kind of took away. I was like, of all the things that could have went wrong, and like that was such a device of time that these people just took it upon themselves of like, it doesn't matter who you are or where you come from, we're taking care of you because in this moment we're all just human. And like that is truly a beautiful sentiment that Come From Away really does. It really is hopeful. It's not like yes, it's heavy at some points, but it really is a hopeful show.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. It's that kind of show that you walk away every single time I saw it, even though like I said, I knew what happened. It didn't matter. I would always walk away being like, oh my gosh, that was so good. I feel amazing right now.
Yes.
It's a horrible situation, and yet I feel amazing for what I just saw because it gives me
That part.
hope.
That part.
Yes.
Yeah, it's hope.
And you truly like, I'm not a super crier, and there's only 2 Broadway shows that ever got me, and this is one of them where it's just you're not walking away and you're just sobbing, like, but it's like happy tears, you know?
Absolutely, right? Absolutely.
It is. It was like it's a win. It's like, yes, humanity, yes, compassion, yes, we can do this. We can do this. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, now, Brian, I want to know, what was the other Broadway show?
I've seen it twice now, and it was The Outsiders, and I was an absolute just mess.
It was just
I haven't
here,
seen
actually.
that yet.
It was just here in
was it
Detroit at the
really?
Fisher. Yeah.
It's still here through this weekend.
Okay,
my gosh.
nice.
If I wasn't in rehearsal, I would go and see it because I haven't
Me
been able to
too.
get tickets yet.
I legitimately was in New York and I saw it, and the person in front of me turned around and actually asked me at one point, "Are you okay?" Because I was just like sobbing so hard. And then I was like, I'm going to be fine. I'm in my hometown. And I just saw it the other week, and I walked away, and I was just an absolute puddle. And I was like, this is apparently where I'm at. But like Come From Away does that in the same way, where it's just like, it breaks you open, but it also just leaves you feeling like, okay, things can be better. Like things can be okay, and people are inherently good.
Yeah.
Yes. And to see also, like, we deal with a little bit, like, of the imperfection in the town with, because again, you have people from all walks of, life right there. And sometimes you had passengers, into it with other passengers, but just to see the way people communicated and figured it out. You know what I mean? As opposed to just separating into their own respective corners.
Yeah. And focusing on their differences. Like, the differences are the
Absolutely.
height. No, 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 no. It's the similarities and how we can actually make the space for each other of like, oh,
Sure.
I don't know about you. Oh, you do this. Okay. How can I help you to do that? I'm going to make the space for you, and then in that graciousness to be able to do that for each other is part of this show too. And it's just delightful.
Yeah. And to do it with like somebody like Jen is just, it's awesome because we
Oh,
we just have fun on stage and off stage. Probably too much fun.
too
So
much. I
that
was going
makes
to
it
say, we
better.
keep getting in trouble.
Absolutely.
It's like high school all over again, right? No.
We're like, you can't do that. We're like, okay, we'll do that. No, you can't do that either. We're like, yeah, okay.
We'll do it when the teacher's not looking.
Absolutely.
So Jennifer, you're playing Beverly among other
Yes.
characters, but
Yes.
so who is Beverly to you?
Beverly Bass, to me, is, I mean, she's an American pilot for American Airlines, the first female captain for American Airlines, which I believe happened in 1986. And so she's got that hero status because she had her eyes on what she wanted to do, and no one was going to tell her how it was going to be. She was going to get there regardless of any roadblock. So she's a huge inspiration. Um, she does have some lines where I'm like, and that's the human. There she is. She's got her eyes on the prize to get people back to where they need to be because first and foremost, she is a pilot and she loves her plane and she loves to fly, but her human comes out as well and her vulnerability comes out. And it's so delightful to be able to play those moments, but also add to the tension of her story because we have, from my perspective as Jennifer, I know a lot about a lot of the victims, and I hear the people, the humans, people stories of the people, the passengers and stuff. But I was like, actually, what were the pilots? I didn't hear anything about the flight crew or anything. And that on my part, I have not read any of the books. I know that there's a couple of books out there that I could have delved into. I have not done that. I'm 5, 6, 7, 8ing over here. I'm like trying to do my stuff.
You're doing a great job.
But thank you. But I do really like finding her human side too, because she is presented in many ways as a pilot first and foremost, as the pilot, representing all the pilots, if you will, in this show. There are a couple of other characters that come in that are pilots for fabulous moments. Tyrick, I'm looking at you.
Captain Bristol.
Yeah, baby. And so she's so much fun to play. And so
Sure.
finding her humanity, especially in that song, Me in the Sky, as well as the interlocking of her pilot and her humanity is really a wonderful challenge. It's so great. And it's a hard song. It's a long song. It's got a lot of lyrics.
A lot of words.
Lot
It
of words.
does. But
Lot of
what I
words.
love about Beverly too is that I want to say this is one of the first times, again, I get to see a lot of shows, I get to see a lot of things. And, we tend to hear a lot of like, I want to be a princess. I want to, but when you start to hear young girls be like, I want to be Beverly and I want to be like not just a hero, but like somebody who is admirable and somebody who wants to do the right thing and just wants to get these people home. Like there was like such an inspiration hearing that from such young voices that Beverly kind of stands out in like this whole collection of all these great, wonderful roles. This really stands out as a special one.
Yes, because thinking about that too, I mean, then this is like digging way deep and maybe a little bit too deep, but it's that idea of always being marketed to as being pretty. And like you said, a princess. I want to be the pretty one. I want to be the one who gets to sing the pretty romantic song and have the love story. I am one of those people that, no, I want to be the messy, evil queen. I want to be the one who messes things up. I want to be the power position. So it's really nice to have her for front and center as a power position in a non-traditional female role, if you will. She's
Sure.
not the pretty, pretty princess. She's the power position. And it's really nice. It's kind of like women saying that, no, actually, I want to be a chemical engineer. I want to go to
Right.
space. It's that kind of a thing instead of I want to be the housewife or something like that. No
Right.
shade at all, but it's just it's a different focus. And it's really nice to see that represented.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And Tyrick, so you're playing Bob amongst other people, and plus double duty with being choreographer over there. But we're going to start with Bob. Who is Bob to you?
Bob he's a New Yorker. He hasn't flown a lot. So
Sure.
for him not to have flown a lot, and I play him like this is my first big flight. And this happens. And he's a New Yorker, grew up in Brooklyn. Like, he's skeptical of everything and everyone. You know what I mean?
And the worst case scenario happens.
That part, right? and then he shows up to this place where all these people are like, "Can we help you?" And he's like, "I'm a New Yorker. Like, we don't even speak to people." You know what I mean? Like, what do you mean? Can you help me? So, he has a big journey in this show of, dealing with new people, and he experiences something that is different for him, and so that changes him. And I think it changes him for the good, I think, but people will see the show and they can make that their own determination. I don't give too much away.
But I do think that you're right, though. Like, that is such a, being in New York, there is such a, separation to your life. You don't always connect with people. And then you're, forced to connect there. That's like, and like you said, first flight, worst case scenario. Yeah, you're nowhere to go. You can't call anybody because everything's down. Like, that has to be terrifying for someone like Bob.
Absolutely. And we talk about there's a part in the show where, the phones aren't working, the cell phones aren't working, and these people have to get us phones and we're just waiting, to just let our families know we're okay, and so playing all of those aspects, it's insane. It's also I learn a lot as a person, as Tyrick. I'm like, wow. You could also be better. Look, my shirt, do good today.
Hey!
But it's like, wow, I can also be better. And I think I'm a pretty good guy, but I'm like, I can be better, just being a part of this story. How do you feel about that, Jen? I mean, maybe I sound crazy.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
Okay.
Especially with nowadays where our connection and our actual interaction on a daily basis is slowly being taken. Because think about it, everything is order online, or now you can order for pickup where you just press your button on your trunk, it opens up, somebody throws it in the back, they go boop on your scanner and you drive away. And that concept can also be extended to the city where we're so in work mode that you don't know your neighbors. Whereas that's Bob's story where he's from Brooklyn, this moment of connection where, no, so-and-so, you get to, I'm trying not to give anything away. It's so hard to say.
Do the dance.
I know, yeah, but it's so true. It's so true. I think I agree with you, Tyrick, that he's for the better. Yeah.
I would agree.
Yeah.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
And speaking of, though, Tyrick, also choreographer here. First off, do you ever sleep?
I'm not sleep. Jen and I were talking this morning on our way here. It has not been a lot of sleep doing double duty, because even when we're doing runs and in rehearsals, Jen knows we have wonderful understudies and I have to step out with the creative team and watch it, or I'm teaching it, and then because I know everybody's part. Then I'm like, oh, now I have to step in and do my part. And I'm like, and what is that? Because there are times when everybody's doing something completely different. And so all of that is in my head. And so then when I'm actually doing my track, I'm like, no, that's what Jen is doing. I should actually be doing this. You know what I mean? So figuring that out and making and finding the play with Jen, because she's a bad influence on me. But then but not.
I would never.
But
the only way I'm a bad influence is you're upstage of me and going, Jen, that was wrong, and I'm like, I know, Tyrick, I know.
Tyrick's like, if you don't get it together, Jennifer, I'm coming up there taking over that role.
I know.
It sucks for her because a lot of times she's in front of me, and of course when we're doing the show and doing the run, I can't see everything. And she's right in front of me, so I'm like, I'm so sorry, you're gonna get the most notes because I'm looking at you. The cast probably
yesterday, it was yesterday post. Yes, yesterday post rehearsal comes in and goes, I just want to give you the heads up. You did that entire section completely wrong. And I went, oh, I got this part right. He goes, no, you didn't. And I was like, oh,
You just know when you're on stage and stuff, and he just is having a notebook and he's staring at you as he's writing a note. You're like, oh
I know,
no.
and I'm like, and he's doing this.
Yeah.
But a great deal of respect for Jen. I'm gonna give her
Oh.
crap because I love her, and
Oh.
and this show is worth coming to just to see her sing "Me in the Sky," and I mean that.
Thank
Just
you
to
so
see
much.
that.
I mean, that is such an iconic moment from the show. Like, that's just such a selling point.
Oh, I appreciate that so much. It is. It's such a great song. It's such a great song. And I have to say, Tyrick's choreography, and the way you teach it too, Tyrick, is so fantastically, like, it's so easy to learn because I'm like, oh, well, yeah, of course. It's so organic, like it's just in here and it goes with the music and it goes with the lyrics that you're like, oh yeah, that's the way I want to move. And it's
Sure.
fantastic, even when I do it wrong.
All love. All love.
So Jennifer, you had mentioned that, like, while Tyrick's choreography is keeping you very busy, you haven't had a lot of time maybe to read the books and stuff like that of all these different characters. But I'm just wondering, even without maybe doing a lot of like reading all those books and stuff like that, do you prepare differently for a character that's based on a real person versus like a fictional character?
Oh, absolutely. I do have some connective tissue that I would do for a fictional
Yeah.
character, but I always start by Googling the hell out of the person I'm playing.
Sure.
And I find any article I can find about the person. I can find any picture. I try to get a timeline, and some information I can't find. And I'm
Sure.
still searching. Like, actually, right before this interview, I was searching for some things because I write notes down as we're going in the script,
That's awesome.
of like, wait a second. Like, one of them was, how long does it take to get from Gander to Appleton? How long are we on a bus? Stuff like that, just to get into that mind space for that certain part or anything like that. And then I Google the situation, and I'll do this for any character I'm playing. I'm like, okay, I'm flying a plane. I have to put on a seatbelt. What does a pilot's seatbelt look like? Because it's not the same as like that kind of a thing. Okay, so I need to do that referential work, that kind of thing. And I'll do that for a fictional character, but also absolutely, I try to be as close to or authentic to the real human being so that it's not like, where's she getting this from? She's not Irish. She's from Dallas. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Yeah, that kind of thing. So, yeah.
Tyrick, how about for you? Because, we recently saw you in Catch Me If You Can, that's a very fictional role, very different than this. Do you feel like preparing for a role that's based off a real person is different than how you would prepare for something like that?
Absolutely. And everything Jen said, she hit the nail on the head. I have my certain preparation that I do, right? Character study and figuring out like what is this character, what is the journey, what's the wants and all of those things. But when you're portraying someone real, there's then that aspect of like Googling, trying to figure out as best as you can interpret their mind space, right? And then do it your way because
Sure.
you don't want to mimic. It's not a Saturday Night Live sketch, right? But then
Yeah.
find your space within that real person so that it is an
Sure.
honest representation.
I mean, and again, it's all of that work that maybe audiences don't even see, but it just helps to make that so authentic.
Yeah.
Yes.
Most people might not even know, you know what I mean? But for me, it works. And I hope that it helps me tell an honest story and be authentic.
Yeah.
For sure. Absolutely. And with a show like this, Tyrick, I'm also wondering too, because within 110 minutes, right? It's only about 110 minutes, correct?
Yeah. Maybe, give or take, maybe a little bit less, but yes.
Okay.
Maybe like 95.
Okay. That sounds about right. I remember when I got to interview somebody who was in the touring cast, and they were saying that structurally it's the time from when the first tower was hit to the second tower fell or something like that, and they like to keep it within that time frame because it's part of the story structure. But you're also changing quite a bit with characters in between scenes. Sometimes in a scene you're playing multiple characters. How do you prepare for something like that?
Prayer.
Someone would be.
And we're doing accents, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
again, we're representing people from all over the world. you know, with 12, 13 of us on stage. So it's, I mean, you know, we have to run to rehearsal really soon so that we can go perfect all of these characters. But yeah,
Sure.
you know, it's all. But what has been fun is for me is doing the research. Like I get to play one character. I don't want to say much about this character, but I get to play another character who has a different accent, and just doing like the research on like that country and, you know, the people of that country and all of that stuff. So that not only am I doing the accent, but I'm bringing the aura of what
Sure.
that you know that culture brings, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because different cultures speak differently, you know what I mean? Is more, it might be more melodic, it might be more harsh, whatever it is. That has been fun, and I have done a lot of deep dives. Probably, you know, another reason why I'm not sleeping at like 3 a.m. because once you start on YouTube and then I'm in this now I'm in a whole documentary and I'm like, oh God, so that's what the animals do in that country. Like, that's random.
Tyrick's like, we're on part 1 of 10. We might as well just finish it all. Like,
Right?
Seriously,
You know what I
binge
mean?
watch.
Like,
It's
serious.
so true.
Okay, my
You go
my
down the
YouTube
wormhole.
algorithm right now must be insane. Like, this is weird.
It's so true. It is so true. Yeah, and you have to do a
Jennifer,
lot
what's
of
it like for
accents,
you?
Tyrick.
Yeah.
Accent? What? I'm lucky. I kind of feel like I got off easy, although I say that, and then our dialect coach was like, "Where are you from?" And I was like, "I don't know." But like I don't have
You're
to
like,
do. I only have
from
to do.
somewhere.
I was like, apparently, I'm from New York today. But yeah, I only have to do 2 accents. But my current challenge is in the middle of a song where I'm singing as a Newfoundlander. I have to pop out of the song to give a speech in a Texas accent and then
Oh.
flip back into a Newfoundland like right away,
Oh,
or they'll
that's hard.
stick out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I do that a lot. And there have been times where I am saying, mainly I'm going to Texas really, really quickly. Like I'll speak as my Newfoundlander in a Texas accent, and I will literally, as I'm saying it, go, I don't know where I'm from. I don't know where I'm from right now. Please don't give me a note. I realize what's happening, but I don't know where I'm from.
That would
It's
have to be
quick.
hard though, because
It's
to
quick.
just switch in and out like that.
It is. I'm finding. I was just talking to Karen Sheridan, is our dialect coach, and I was just talking with her yesterday that I am very much, and Tyrick, I feel like you and I have talked about this too, about muscle memory. I learn through doing, like kinetic. I have a kinetic memory where I'm like, great, you can give me a speech, but I need to put it in my body in order to remember it. And it's the same thing with dialects. I have to find out where the placement is literally in my mouth. So, like, Texas really far back. Like, I can feel my soft palate raising anytime I talk from Texas. But from Gander, Gander is super far forward and very much here. And so finding that placement and flipping, I'm slowly, really slowly at this point, finding the ability to flip into that placement. So it's just a technique and something that I just have to keep working on. But it's hard. It's hard. And I only
is.
do 2. Tyrick, you do how many?
I do
4? I feel like
I do 3 or 4 because I have like my basic person, then Bob,
Yeah.
New York, then my Ugandan, and then of course Newfoundland.
Yeah. It's so
I
much.
mean, I don't know. When he was talking about Bob, he slipped right into a New York accent, so he's like crushing it. And
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's what happened. Because even though I've been in New York most of my life, I'm from Alabama. I'm a Southern boy with a New York edge all the way.
like literally, the moment Bob came out, you were talking in New York accent. I was like, that was really quick. He just was
Yeah.
like,
He just kind of like dropped right in. It was awesome.
I was like, if I want to do an accent, I have to watch 7 seasons of a show just to be able to mimic it, and it's probably bad.
It's gonna be the day where Tyrick gives us notes and choreography. He's like, I don't know what y'all doing, but 5, 6, 7, that was not right. Actually, I feel like you did that. You were like, Jen, I don't know what you're doing, but it was not right. And I was like, Bob is giving me choreography notes right now.
Oh my gosh, too funny.
So I know we're getting close to your rehearsal time, so just want to throw one more question at both of you. And Tyrick, I'm gonna start with you. It's just what themes from Come From Away just resonate the most with you right now with where you are in your life?
Love. This
Great.
love that these people had for each other. And and love can be a hard word, right? Because we think of love and we think of like, oh, if I say I love someone, I have to had known them for 9 years or been in a relationship with them. Like you can't just, meet someone and love them, but you have to have love in your heart to be that open and treat people with that amount of compassion, empathy, respect. That comes from a place of love. And so to me,
Sure.
and that's what I try to do. Everyone knows, I try to love more, because I just think that's what we need. And the cast, everyone I work with, they know when I talk to people and especially in groups and even individually, I say my love. Yes, my love. My love, how can I help you? Because I think if we can't start there, then who are we? What are we doing?
Yeah. Well
Jennifer,
said.
Tyrick is just such a awesome person. You get to work with him every day with
He
just
is
such
so
a kind-hearted
hard.
person.
God, he's so hard to work with. I don't want to talk about him, but now that it's out, I might as well just say him.
I mean, at this point, you shouldn't keep your own notes and give it to him.
No, I was like, go on. I just said nothing.
But Jennifer, how about for you? What themes really resonate with you right now with where you're at?
Humanity, compassion, hope, self-sacrifice. I think currently we are very much in a mental mindset of what do I need? Grab. And it is a rare and amazing thing when you see somebody just not even thinking and being like, oh, I've got that. Here you go. Take it. And people are amazed by it because it's so rare now. And when that happens, and just unthinking, altruistic giving and love, like Tyrick said, love, just not expecting anything in return. Just you're a human and you're hurting and I need to help you. I need to, because I have the capacity. And it's so rare nowadays, especially, that this show is so much about that. And it serves as a reminder that we do have that in us. We just maybe need to tap into it a little bit more.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
There's always room for unconditional love here in this world.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. And just to make space for the differences. It's so funny that we're so focused on differences of people being a negative thing. It's interesting. I was talking to somebody and we were talking, oh, I'm from New York. Oh, I'm from New York too. And you get that connection. You're really, really excited. And they go, oh my God, where do you live? Oh, well, I live in Washington Heights. Oh, well, I live in Queens. And then it's like, bloop, and it's like, no, it doesn't matter. I like the color. It's like little kids finding that connection of like, I like dragons. I like dragons too. Which ones? Mine's a brontosaurus. Well, mine's a T-Rex. But they'd be friends.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
It's finding even in the differences, it's okay. It's still good. They can still play,
Absolutely.
There's still that commonality.
Yes.
Yeah, commonality. Exactly. Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, you two, for being here today. It has been such a pleasure to talk with you. And I appreciate the wonderful energy and the wonderful talk about this really important show that I hope everybody shows out to see.
Oh,
People should come see this. Like, you will leave inspired. You will leave. I promise you that. If you don't leave inspired from this show, then you're not a good person. No, just...
You heard it here.
You saw.
But like,
Absolutely.
It just doesn't matter. Just come and open your heart. Everyone will love this show. And I'm pretty sure of that. Brian, thank you for having us. And please, when you come, say hello, say hello.
Come find us. Come find us.
Hello, you know what I mean? Because when we see each other in person from seeing each other like on video, sometimes it can be different. But I'll probably come in for a hug. I'll be like, dude, that's me.
Yeah.
I was going to say, when I saw you at Footloose, you definitely came in for a hug. And it was just like the warmest, you were just like the warmest greeting. And as a press person, you don't always get that, because we're some, computer separated and then I come and I review the show. But you truly, you make everybody feel like family. And so this is kind of the energy that Come From Away is all about.
It is. It totally is. Thank you
Yeah.
so much for having us. This is so
Of
great.
course. Of course. So Come From Away arrives at Meadow Brook Theatre March 18th and runs through April 12th, so get your tickets now. Meadow Brook Theatre is also hosting a Newfound Friends fundraiser on March 23rd. That was a tongue twister to get through.
Right.
But you will be
Yes.
able to meet with some of the residents in which the show is based, so check out their website to learn more about that. Thanks again for joining us here, and we can't wait to see you at the show.